In the quiet corners of history, shadows of terror lurk, whispers of accusations, fear, and flames that consume the innocent. Imagine a world where mere suspicion could spell doom, where your neighbor's words could lead to your destruction. This is what life was like during the dark era of the witch trials. But ask yourself this: how could entire communities succumb to such mass hysteria, fueled by fear and superstition? What drove these fiery obsessions? Step back with me into an era defined by faith, yet riddled with fear. From the 15th to 17th centuries, Europe was a tumultuous patchwork of crumbling traditions, religious upheavals, and social instability. It was an age where the line between the natural and the supernatural blurred. With the Protestant Reformation came division: Catholic Church on one side, Protestant sects on the other. This was more than religious conflict. This was a battle for control over the hearts and minds of millions. The devil, it was said, prowled freely, seeking mortal souls to corrupt. Now imagine a society heavily governed by religious law. Doubt in God was not merely seen as disbelief, but as criminality. Superstition filled the void left by understanding, and scapegoating became all too common. It is here, amidst sermons, suspicion, and fear of the unseen, that the concept of the witch took monstrous flaming root. The witch trials wouldn't erupt in one single decisive moment. No, they simmered as accusations began quietly, spreading like a slow-burning fire through towns and villages. The Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches. Published in 1487, it served as the witch's handbook for prosecution, written by clergymen obsessed with rooting out perceived evil. Witches, they claimed, made pacts with Satan, brewed deadly potions, and wielded curses against their neighbors. Trials were far from just. Imagine standing before grim-faced officials, being accused without evidence. The so-called tests practiced were horrifying. Water might be blessed to determine your purity. You would be bound and tossed into a river, and if you floated, it was said that the water was rejecting you, marking you as guilty. Not floating meant drowning, a martyr's death but a cleared name. And then made worse, spectral evidence came into play. This was evidence obtained through dreams or visions, claimed to signify guilt. If a townsfolk dreamed of you cavorting with demons, well, that was reason enough for your guilt. Thus, hundreds, perhaps thousands, were executed. Most were women, though some men and children became ensnared in the web of hysteria. The methods? Not as much the stake burning we sensationalize, but hangings, drownings, and imprisonment in deplorable conditions. The flames were rarer than you'd think, though they became the symbol of this dark persecution. What caused ordinary communities, everyday people, to turn on their own neighbors? The psychology of fear holds answers. When individuals live under stress, famine, disease, or war, they search desperately for an explanation, a cause. Accusations became an outlet, hysteria a shared experience, and propaganda from religious authorities only deepened the terror. End the witches, you'd hear, or we'll all perish in sin. The devil, they said, found access through women's inherent weakness of soul. Misogyny bled into every corner of the trials. Herbalists, midwives, and single women, independent from male control, were painted as prime suspects in a culture afraid of their autonomy. Northern and Western Europe became their epicenter, with startling witch hunts even reaching the New World. Salem, Massachusetts, a name now synonymous with paranoia. In 1692, a group of young girls accused innocent people of witchcraft, leading to 20 hangings and hundreds imprisoned. This organized fear turned into a cultural purge, a method for communities to expunge perceived threats to their order and purity. From the woodcut prints of witches on broomsticks to church sermons warning against Satan's agents, This collective madness forged symbolism still haunting us today. We might think ourselves far removed from such an era, reason eclipsing superstition. But pause and think, how often does fear, stoked by power or misinformation, lead to modern witch hunts of a different kind? Social ostracism fueled by social media mob mentalities, political purgings under the guise of loyalty, narratives spun to manipulate entire populations into blaming the other. Are these so different? The witch trials remind us of the dangerous power fear wields when coupled with ignorance and a desire for control. The fire may have dimmed, but the embers remain. Communities tearing themselves apart. The cry of witchcraft might look different now, but its echoes are unmistakable. Every age believes it has outgrown cruelty. Yet the past whispers, beware. Evil can wear the guise of good, and fear remains the oldest tool in humanity's chest. And so we close with one persistent, unnerving question. How would you have fared if that shadow of accusation fell across your door?